So lovely to see you, and lots of people joining us. Tell me, Christine, you started before, and I think that you're where you want to be now. And
Yeah.
I must say that I love your posts, and I love the wise words you come up with. And I wonder sometimes, do they just come into your head, or are you thinking about something in particular and you think, I must write that down?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are things that have just come into my head. The time, it's like a few people who do a lot of like inspiring quotations, that sort of thing. So there are some that I steal, but I always try to make sure that the person that's quoted is mentioned. So I'm not sort of like in breach of copyright or anything like
No,
that.
that's really lovely. Well, they're really inspiring, and they're not kind of gushing. They're very sort of wise, really, really lovely. So thank you. I hope you'll keep doing it.
Oh, right. No, I nearly posted one yesterday, actually, because I actually found out that I'd lost another 3 pounds, even though I'd put myself into phase 4. So clearly I haven't got the hang of phase 4 yet. So
That's amazing. Another £3, did you say?
yeah, another 3 pounds, but I haven't weighed myself for 2 weeks. So yeah, 3 pounds over 2 weeks. I think the problem is my husband, John, who's been doing this with me as well as Ed, he's still in phase 3 because he's got a couple of months to go. So I'm sort of still splitting between the two and probably not yet sort of settled.
Yeah, it's quite daunting, I know, going into phase 4, because you suddenly feel all at sea, like there aren't any rules, but there are. You sticking to the most important rules about drinking the water, having
Yeah.
at least 5 hours between meals, getting enough sleep, making sure that you're going to the bathroom, or bathroom as they say here, every day, and all those kind of things. But you can be more lax with mixing your proteins. You don't have to start with protein anymore because your blood sugar is under control. So it's just less restrictive, but in a way, I know it's a bit scarier. But you're
Yeah.
navigating it pretty well by the sound of it.
I mean, it's funny, when you just said then the fights, that had to be protein. That's probably the hardest thing that I do. I now go for veg first. I think I quite like veg, so I've always gone first on the plate. And honestly, my husband and I would sit down for dinner, lunch, whatever, and he would go, protein first, protein first. So it was sort of like been drilled into me. So now I think I always go for protein first on the plate.
That's very good. But say if you were out and you didn't want to mix your protein, say you're in a restaurant, you could start with salad or something.
Yes, yeah.
Would he still yell at you, do you think? What are you doing, Christine? Are you crazy?
Yeah, he'd definitely say that.
I have.
That's hilarious. And it's so lovely to have you here as well. And you've been really cheering us up. Something very sunny about your persona on Instagram. And we love your cooking. I mean, your cooking is fabulous. And you make it look really interesting and exciting and not too complicated either. So win, win, win. And you're at uni at the moment still.
Yes, I graduated from my undergraduate in 2021, and initially I thought, right, that's it, studies behind me, never going back to the books. I'm ready to be working and getting in the zone. And then I had an epiphany that I wanted to do law and become a lawyer. So unfortunately, that means 2 more years of studying. But HBD has actually been a bit of a godsend with that, because with law and law studies, it's an incredibly rigorous, structured, routine sort of lifestyle. And having that already in place from HBD meant that the transition into studying was really nice. And I have very structured periods in my day where it's like, I know that after I've had my lunch between 1 and 2 p.m, that's like core study time. And also the best thing I've noticed is previously, like after lunch, I'd have this afternoon slump, 2 to 4 p.m. I'd just be tired, lethargic, not in the mood to do anything. And I think it's probably because lunchtime was where I was most guilty of carb loading, because old lunches for me were things like sandwiches, toasties, whatever I could pick up from a local supermarket in a meal deal. Whereas now I'm going for things like salads, soups, even like nice hot things. Like I've been having all sorts, and I'm not having that. So it's great.
No, that's fantastic. So would you say that's probably the biggest change in terms of how you eat? You're just eating fewer carbs?
I would say almost definitely. I'd say also I had a bit of and I think it is a bit of a thing that's projected sometimes on social media, is when you're on a diet, you can eat as much veg as you want, or if you're eating the right veg, have as many as you want. So when mum and dad started HBD, I was on a different style of diet. And they were having these tiny salads, but I was having a salad that was about this big. And I was like, well, it's fine, guys. It's just vegetables. I don't understand. And then starting my HBD journey made me realize, well, actually, you can't, eating a whole lettuce, it's not going to change your weight.
You know what, we all thought exactly the same, and you're definitely not alone. I always thought that vegetables must be free, as you say, because they're, you know, low calorie and they're so good for us and everything else. But essentially, they're all carbs, they're all carbohydrates. So yeah, it's a bit of a wake-up call for lots of us when it comes to the veg. And then, Christie, of course, you can experiment with eating more veg in phase 4 and seeing what your body will get away with.
That's it. That's what I've been trying to do, is because obviously John's still strict vegetarian. I've been trying to sort of add a little bit more protein, add a little bit more veg to plate, which is great. But I would agree with Emily. That was probably the biggest sort of shock for me. Was I never really thought of myself as an unhealthy eater. It was just the fact that we had huge portions, all of us. You know, I feel guilty as a parent because I've clearly brought Emily up in that way of nice big plates. As long as it's healthy food, then you're okay to eat it all, sort of thing, until you're full.
But you know, that's John's fault, really.
It is.
Northern portion.
Man portions.
He is a chronic overfeeder. He really is. And now the only person the only person that gets overfed is the dog. So the dog is going to be on HBD.
The dog is roly-poly.
Yeah, the vet told me off the other day because she's gained half a kilo. So that's quite a lot. It's his sort of like way of demonstrating his affection for people. Dinner, it's huge portions.
Huge portions, exactly. I know it's really hard when you're, you know, especially when you start HBD and you're thinking, do I really have to cut 6 grams off that? And the dog says, yes, you do. Give it here.
Yes. Oh, she hovers in the kitchen, wrapping food, waiting just the tiniest morsel that might fall. But we're so hungry that nothing ever
Exactly. Well, she's got good doggy calm. Obviously, she's got Emily sort of cooking up storms. And she's sitting there hoping with her mouth hanging open. She's also done a few good things in some past lives. Yeah.
All of our inspiration, because I can't wait for your cookbook to come out in January.
Thank you. No, it's really exciting.
I know, but we're so excited because we've started to get a little bit tired with repetition. And, you know, so I always say to Emily, come on, Emily, you've got to do something this week. Make a new sort of recipe, put a reel up on Instagram, and then, you know, I'll feel inspired. So, but it's great.
It's really exciting, and I hope you love it. It's quite tense because, you know, a lot of people have been saying they're very excited. I'm just thinking, gosh, well, I hope it is as good as I hope it is, think it is. But yeah, it will definitely give people more ideas and shake things up a bit in the kitchen, which is always good. So what was the inspiration for starting, Christine, and Emily as well? Was it a friend who'd done it and you were amazed by the transformation, or did you hear about it another way?
It was funny, actually. So this time last year, Emily was diagnosed with endometriosis, and a very good friend of mine who now lives in the US. I will look into the US medicine, see what's out there, what can be done to help her. So she said, anything I find, I'll let you know. And then just out of the blue one day, she said, there's a video, you've got to watch it. And it was your live with Christie.
Oh, darling Christie.
Yeah. And so I sat and watched it, and I was blown away. I was amazed by what she was sort of saying. So I went straight online and ordered the book, and I thought, right, okay, I'll read the book. And at the same time, John and I had, at the start of the year, we'd had a New Year's resolution of losing weight, because actually this Friday, John's son gets married. So
lovely.
Yeah, so we're going to a wedding. So anyway, we decided that we couldn't turn up to the wedding with all of our sort of weight gain. So we would go on a very sensible diet. So after the book, I said to John, this is the sensible diet. And then there was also the article in the Daily Express which said you can lose a stone in 2 weeks, which literally that little guy, he was like, that'll do for me. I said, if we do and it works for us, then I think I can get Emily to do it.
I see. Yeah.
think then for her, it's all about the health. And then we started on it, weight fell off to the point that our neighbour started on the HBD diet. He was like, I can't believe how much weight you both lost. What's your secret? She's now on her HBD. Good.
Amazing.
I know. And then that it sort of went from there. And then obviously that was, QN to start her own journey. And we were all sort of across that it was going to have the same benefit for her as it did for Christie, which Emily will explain.
Yes, do explain, Emily. Can't wait to hear about this. And thank goodness. I mean, Christie, I don't know if you're here or not, but thank you, for bravely sharing your story, because it was it touched so many people, and so many people got in touch about it. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, for me, it was sort of quite an emotional thing, because obviously when it's your daughter, feel quite helpful. But she's been so lovely as well, just with her personal messages and things like that. It's really nice, and just feeling that there's somebody out there that can sort of, like she said, I understand from watching my parents what they've gone through. And, she said, but then obviously she's got her own personal journey as well, which, is sort of where Em's at now.
I mean, yeah, my journey is slightly different to Mum's. I mean, I was very much in camp, I need to lose some weight before this wedding, because I broke my foot this time last year, as well as finding out I had endometriosis. It was a great few months, but I gained quite a lot of weight in the process, because obviously being completely sedentary, having a round of surgery then further incapacitated me. And then also the surgery in itself was just horrible. I mean, I did about 4 weeks of recovery where I just wasn't myself. And I was being faced with a reality that this could become every other year, if not worse. And I got to a point where, I mean, I was in doctor's surgery and I was saying, standard over-the-counter painkillers are not working for me. You've tried me on every micro combi, estrogen-only, progesterone-only pill. None of them are agreeing with me. Every other drug that you've offered me isn't doing anything. I've got an IUD inserted that's also not helping my symptoms. I need something. And the doctors turned around and said, well, the only other course of action we can offer you right now is putting you on a long-term course of opiates. And as a 22-year-old, being put on opiates was actually quite terrifying. I mean, it's possibly slightly over-dramatized in the media, but seeing the fact that, people end up with lifelong addictions because of the fact that they're started on these for like chronic illnesses such as what I have. And I thought, I'm not doing that. I need an alternative that works. So Catherine sent Mum the video from Christie, and then Mum found the Daily Express article, and she was sending me all of these articles. She was like, you have to read this, you have to read this. And I was really stressed at work, and I was like, whatever, Mum, I'll read it. And then I went off to Italy with my boyfriend and my friends in September, and I was like, right, I'm going to read the book. So I was reading the book, and I was on a train from Milan to Venice. And I was like to my boyfriend, I was like, you have to read this. It's really interesting. And I was like, this could work. And he was like, yeah, okay. And I got back and I was like, I'm so motivated, I'm ready. And it was like month by month as I started, I could just feel these little improvements to the point now where my periods feel like what I think a normal person's periods would feel like. Because unfortunately, I've never had normal ones, but the way they phrase them is like, oh, slight cramping, bit of bleeding, XYZ. And I was like, oh, okay, why is mine horrific? Like, I was getting to the point where it was making me sick, and it's not sustainable that you're throwing up for 2 days of a month. I mean, it's terrible for your teeth, if not anything else. So for me, it's been huge. And just generally, like, as a result of the endometriosis, I was tired all the time. I mean, when I was 17, I got admitted into hospital with suspected appendicitis, which was then linked to the endometriosis. And I mean, since, I haven't had to take so I was on a combination of naproxen and an antacid, which is really bad for you. Mum, can you remember what the antacid was called? Famotidine. So, and they were umming and ahhing about putting me on a omeprazole, and I'd been on that before, and they're all so bad for your inside. And it was like, I felt like all the good bacteria inside me must have been dying because I was getting ill all the time. My immune system was on the floor. Like, I was calling Mum on a monthly basis, like, I'm ill again. I'm just ill. Like, I can't get out of bed. Like, I'm having shocking, like, headaches. It could be migraines. And there was just all so much of it, which linked back to clearly the way that my hormones work inside my body. And obviously I saw, well, not obviously, but I saw a hormone specialist, and she said you can control some of this through your diet. So she kind of signposted a few things which were HBD, but very general. And I was a bit like, well, you're not giving me a routine or a path or a structure, which is where HBD literally filled this void of my life that, I mean, has actually gone on to be such a huge game changer. Because I do feel now, I mean, it's like I could preempt when I was going to be really ill, and I'd be like, right, time to clear the calendar for a few days and just deal with this. Now, I don't need to clear my calendar. I can just be myself.
That's just so wonderful, Emily. Somebody just put up tears of joy, so happy for you. That's so sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, really lovely. And how long does it take? Because I guess for most of us, the big things that we change with HBD, we get rid of wheat and we get rid of sugar. Some people get rid of dairy. I always encourage people to. But how long does it take before your body starts to feel different?
So I'd say within the first month, I could notice some differences. So I weirdly, and I thought I just had really bad allergies, I was sneezing all the time. My eyes and my face were like puffy, like having terrible hay fever. And then also I felt as though I was like retaining so much water. For example, like my fingers would get really, really swollen quite a lot of the time. And I noticed that in the first month. That was like, it was almost like after doing phase 1 and phase 2, I could feel those differences. And then keeping with phase 3 slowly, so like my skin has cleared up. Like I used to have terrible spots, and I mean, I'm completely past puberty now, so I shouldn't be getting them in the way that I was. And then also the other thing that, it sounds small, but it was genuinely such an impact on my daily life, was having awful ulcers like all over my mouth. They've all completely wound down, apart from I got one because I got ill. And I think, you know what, at the end of the day, if you do get a cold, you can't really help it.
No, it's true.
And
do you have wheat or gluten at your treat meals?
so I've had it at one treat meal. Hilariously, the next day I saw Mum, and she was like, why do you keep on sneezing? She was like, God, it's so annoying. And I was like, I'm sorry, I ate some gluten. And then I went really bloated. Like I literally felt like I was pregnant. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, great that, I don't know, if you hadn't seen your mum that day, do you think you would have kind of put 2 and 2 together about the sneezing?
I don't know. I think I was in denial, because she kept being like, because you had gluten. She was like, I know it, I know it. And I was like, oh, give off, it's not that. And then, no, it was that.
It was that. So now you know what it does to you. Is it? I know it's still very tempting. I'm sure it is, from time to time to give in. But how rigid are you with that?
I haven't had it since. It's one of those. It was like I had pasta, and I love pasta. Like I'm such a big fan, and I had this like fresh pasta in a restaurant. And since, I've just been like, no, it's just got to go. It's got to be rice or potato. And I mean, you know what? I love rice, so I'm not complaining about that.
No, thank goodness you like rice as well. And it's interesting about pasta, because pasta is naturally much lower in gluten than than wheat bread is. So yeah, so you had a little dose, but that, it made itself quite clear, not for your body, Emily.
And it might not be enough either, so that I have moved from my diet, even on a treat meal, because early days I would have gluten, I'd wake up the next day, pains in my tummy. No, you'd start to feel a little bit of joint pain coming back, which is one thing I noticed went for me after starting HBD. So, because I've always had a bit of a back problem, that disappeared. And I have gluten, and then you just feel it. You feel achy. You feel like you've maybe been on a night or something like that. And it took me a couple of weeks to sort of really understand that it was actually the gluten. And also, same as Emily, I do the whole wake morning sneezing. And I've been a doctor about the fact that I had really bad allergy. And their answer was, oh, well, instead of taking a 1 milligram dose, 10 milligram dose, take 20. And if you need to, you can take 30. Now, I don't take any antihistamines at all. I literally took 3 a day.
Oh, God.
I know. And
it's so sad, isn't it? I mean, that's all the doctors have got, really. They don't have any training in nutrition. all they can do is give us pills. Really sad for them too, really, because they know it's not really helping.
No, I mean, the frustration that we're not sort of getting to the bottom of what the problems are, and I think are just phenomenal between sort of health issues and diet. And for me personally, it's like I think I'd become a real dinner time bore. And in his company, I just have to say,
just keep telling them.
Yeah. Have you thought about giving up gluten? Have you thought maybe it's dairy or those things now? And they must be dreading that day that I started reading your book.
She's told so many people to get the book. I think 5, if
you.
not
Good.
more, of her friends.
That's fantastic. That's really good. And they're all starting, well, limbering up to start. Daisy Pearl says, gosh, I relate. I had appendix removed and finally diagnosed with endometriosis at 48.
Oh,
we'll be doing, I know, can you imagine?
Yeah. I think it's all that time and energy lost just through no diagnosis. I mean, been sort of back into the doctors with Emily. She literally turned about 12, 13. I mean, I even got the doctor to send me to see a nutritionist this many years ago, and she just said to Emily, oh, you'd be great in a nuclear winter. And I was like, and she said, oh, your metabolism's so low, you could live on probably 1,000 calories a day. Yeah, off you go kind of thing.
Oh, how awful. It's horrendous, isn't it? Really horrendous.
Well, I paid for that privilege for you to tell me information. What I was looking for was to somebody to say, let's have a look at things. Let's see what the problems are and the bottom of some of these issues. And, you know, it's like when you read the book, as reading the book, John and I were on holiday. So I think I was probably quite annoying for him too, because I revelation to revelation. And I would sit in my sunbed and go, oh, did you know?
It's so lovely.
Yeah. So of course he was like, yeah, okay, Christine, you've just told me that once. But at the end I said, you need to read the book. And he said, I don't need to, because he said, you just
give me the whole thing. That's hilarious. You keep telling people, Christine, you're lovely. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Because it is so exciting, isn't it, when we realize that we can change our health just by doing really quite small things, you know, that it really does make a difference to how we feel as to what we put in our bodies and, you know, what's on the end of our fork. It's just incredible that we're slowly putting 2 and 2 together. It's getting a bit more mainstream. But did you say that friend of yours in America, was she a doctor?
No, she's just, I mean, I actually met her through antenatal classes 3 years ago, and she had her at the same time as I had Emily, and we just became such good friends. And then her and her family moved out to Chicago, but we stay in touch. I go visit. She's obviously back here a lot, but because our daughters, you know, you're constantly comparing and contrasting and that sort of thing. If she's got an issue, I try to help her out, and vice versa. So she's got sort of like a gynae doctor over there, so she could ask her questions, whereas we don't have that luxury in this country, sort of thing. So yeah, she put out lots and lots of feelers for me. Really, really helpful and much, much appreciated. It's interesting because she already followed you, although she's an incredibly healthy eater anyway. So she just follows all these people that talk about, you know, the way you should be eating and that sort of thing. And obviously we're all sort of ladies of a similar age, so about menopause she would follow, and I'm just so grateful that you sort of listened in to your life and sent it to me.
No, thank God, because as you said, and as Christie said, you know, there's nothing worse than watching your child suffer and feeling unable to do anything to help. It's just the worst feeling. So yeah, thank goodness. Life is so strange, isn't it? Because if you hadn't met, did you say she was called Catherine at the antenatal classes? Who knows? I mean, I'm sure that somehow you would have come across Christie, but life is so magical sometimes, isn't it?
I know, and it's like sometimes, oh my gosh, things are meant to be. This past 6 months, it just felt like there has been a light at the end of quite a dark tunnel, because it's sort of the long-term issue for Emily and how it continues, because it's one of those illnesses that doesn't get any better, it only gets worse. And if we've managed to like halt it in its tracks now, that I just think is incredible. And Emily, you must agree.
I'm sort of blown away, and I'm so glad, Emily, that you saw your parents getting thinner and thought, well, they're on to something, and that you know, because I know it's not fun, especially the first 16 days is damn hardcore. And you got through that, and you felt better in the first month, which is just fantastic, because sometimes it can take longer than that. But luckily you are very young, and so your body responds. It gives you feedback almost immediately if you're on the right track with something. Your body's saying, yes, keep doing that, I really like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'd also say, like, it's one of those things. First 16 days, no denying, they're tough. First two, slightly hellish with the Epsom salts and all of that. But okay, put that to the side. I think the difference is you feel hungry in those first 16 days, but compared to, like, you eat a bucket of KFC, you have a Domino's pizza, or you have a big meal out where you literally walk away, you feel heavy, you feel sick. I get terrible, well, I used to get terrible heartburn, where literally not only was I taking hardcore antacids, I was also like, God, I feel like I should take a Gaviscon right now.
Yeah.
And whereas now I'm not doing any of that, because it's clearly like my body's saying, everything that you're eating now is not upsetting me inside. And, you know, I can deal with being a little bit peckish for 30 minutes, but what I can't deal with is you overloading me with stuff that makes me feel sick.
Yeah. No, very, very, very well said. Really, really amazing, Emily. Well done. And tell us about the cooking. Were you already a keen cook before you started HBD, or was it sort of necessity, thinking I've got to try and make this stuff taste more interesting?
So I'm a huge cook, like been obsessed since I was about 18. So when I was at university, I used to cook for all my friends out of sheer concern they were going to be malnourished, because God, they were living on kebabs and burgers, and it used to make me feel stressed. So I got into it, and then in second year, one of my friends, because we watched a lot of MasterChef, she was like, "Oh my God, you should go on MasterChef." And I was like, "Yeah, all right, I'm not that good." But then coming to
You are,
HBD,
yeah.
thank you. Maybe I should do one of those. Sometimes chefs come on and they're like, I'm going to bring my lifestyle to MasterChef. I'll go on and be like, I'm going to cook everything HBD and you're going to be amazed. But I just thought, you know, I like cooking. I'm passionate about it. I find I'm not a drawer. I'm not creative. I can't make clothes or sew or do anything like that, but I can cook. And it's the way that I can express my personality.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like the best thing about HBD compared to like some other off the shelf diets where you are literally eating the same foods day in, day out.
Oh,
The
so
thing is, you can eat whatever you want, well, within reason, but like whatever meat you want and whatever fish you want, and then you compare it with whatever veg takes your fancy that day. You know, if you want root veg and some cabbage, you can have root veg and cabbage. If you want to have like a salady lighter dish, like all of those options are available to you. So that's what makes it so great.
Really exciting, and we really do love seeing you in the kitchen, because you're so enthusiastic. It's really gorgeous.
I'm going to keep making more. I was going to try and do some festive themed ones. I should have filmed what I made yesterday, because I made a really good root veg puree with some like really hearty chicken stock, and then because I had chicken with it. But I will get some more recipes going, because I was trying to do homemade takeaways for the World Cup, because I feel like in my head I associate big football games with takeaways.
That's such a lovely idea. I look forward to those as well. But your root veg and chicken stock, that's such a delicious, nourishing, warming thing for the weather at the moment as well. So it's really nice that you're cooking seasonally as well. Really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, really.
I think in our kitchen over, because John sees himself as the head chef. But he did actually train as a chef. Many. Yes, that was his very first job.
Ah, so it's in your blood, Emily.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's growing up, watching your dad, because if ever we entertain, on a day-to-day, I would always cook. But if ever we entertain, I would just let John go to the kitchen. That was an easier thing to do. And he always had to like help, whereas the rest that she'd maybe chop off her finger, be messy or whatever. So I think you've got your dad, thank him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. And he's doing well on HBD as well. Is he disciplined?
He's lost 52 pounds. He's got 3 more to go.
Wow, that's amazing. But how many dogs is that? For everybody who doesn't know.
Is that a Great Dane?
Great Dane.
It's a Great Dane. That's who you said he was going for, a Great Dane.
He's going to do it. He's going to get there. Whole Great Dane gone.
That's fantastic. Isn't it? Really amazing.
Yeah, and I've said that's it because he's got no clothes and he won't throw them out. So today I made him go through everything and take it to the charity shop. I said, coats there, people need them for the winter. But I think for him, he's just shocked. He bought a suit for his niece's wedding last November, and he said, you wouldn't believe Christie put it on, and it absolutely swamped me. And he said, how did I end up that big? And, you know, one of those things we don't realise, you know, sort of you get into bad habits and before you know, the weight's crept on. And I think that's the thing that both of us, we constantly talk about the good things we've learned and how we promise that we're going to check each other, that if one of us starts to slip back into bad ways, then...
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I do think it's important. When I read your book and you said, you know, it's really important to have like support there. I honestly, doing this with John and Emily has been so much easier than if I'd have done it on my own. And then not only that, then finding a whole community of lovely, genuinely lovely, really, really helpful people has just been amazing.
HBD gang is incredible, isn't it?
Just, you know, people just messaging you and you know, put a question out and even straight back with an answer, and just genuine, and you as well. You're so generous with your time with people on the diet, which is incredible.
Well, it's such a pleasure, Christine. Thank you. I get the most incredible messages from people, you know, and I save a lot of them. And if I'm having a bad day, I read them and I think, this is why you're doing what you're doing. This is amazing. You know, people are having a different experience of life, you know, a much better experience of life, which is just so humbling, really.
Changed so many people's lifestyle and their health through that change in lifestyle. That in itself must be a really sort of like warm, cozy feeling, you know.
It really is really, really extraordinary. Yeah, no, thank you.
Victoria's post today, and it's just really nice that she'd taken the time to have to go vigilating just to sort of say, don't beat yourself up, you know, don't be hard on yourself. And that was just, I sat there and I thought, she's right. We are incredibly hard on ourselves.
We really are much harder than we would be on anybody else.
Yeah. And then so just that's the community, the HBD community. It's the little things that you get back from all the other people and the shared experiences. And also, I think, you know, people's successes and also their failures, because I find that's the other thing. People are genuinely, they're so honest and they say, right, I've fallen off the wagon today, I've been really bad, and tomorrow's it's a new day, and you know, they just pick it up and they're straight back on. So it's great.
No, we're so blessed. And you know, it was like completely self-seeded. You know, it started in the old days with, you know, Joe Tinker, for instance, and it was a very kind of tight-knit gang. And I think it must be quite, I don't know, it's really changed from how it was originally, because obviously it's much, much bigger. But the spirit is still there, the spirit of generosity and community and, compassion and all those lovely things. And, you know, there's no competition. It's not like, but everybody wants everybody else to succeed. You know, that's just so gorgeous and so heartwarming.
I know, because such bad things about like the internet and social media, and yet for me, I found the whole HB community such a positive experience. I mean, it's actually, you know, a joy. Go on, Emily, sorry.
I'd say it's like a real safe space to be 100% honest with where you're at and how things are going. And for me, you know, I got a bit ill over the weekend. Unfortunately, beans did become my sole source of sustenance, which it's not fantastic, but it's like, it's so welcoming that you can kind of come into the space and just tell people, and people are like, oh no, like, get better soon. Don't beat yourself up about it. Tomorrow's a new day. Yeah. And I think it's a much better attitude than like coming in and like beating yourself up. And, you know, I think, you know, it's such a strange thing because also everyone is giving their time for free, and I think that's a huge part of this. It's like everyone is doing this voluntarily, whereas like, you know, you go to one of these weight loss groups, someone is being paid to give you some advice and they're going to stand at the front and preach, but it almost feels like you cannot relate to that, whereas we're all in this together and it's a community because we're not paying for a service, we're just all like helping people along and lifting people up. And I think for me, without that, especially because I don't live at home with mum and dad, and I mean, we constantly keep in touch and talk to one another and touch base, and we do it with our neighbour as well. But without everyone online, you know, motivation to try out new foods, motivation to just keep on going, a reminder to have a drink of water, all of those things are invaluable. And also just people asking questions and finding things out. Like me and mum were saying earlier, like, oh, we didn't realise that you couldn't have cheese twice in a day. But it was on HBD Instagram, so we know now.
Yeah, that was thanks to HBD Faye, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember what she called it. She had a very funny term for it, didn't she?
Double dairy. I think it was double dairy she called it, or something like that.
Yeah, double dairy something. You're right. Yeah, it was very funny. So that's great. But I love what you said, Emily, about having a safe space and that, you know, we're all in this together. You know, everybody wants everybody else to succeed, which is really, really lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you come across other sort of 20-somethings, Emily?
No, I'm trying to convert a lot of 20-somethings currently. So my flatmate read the book because I was like, you have to read this, because she's got some other like health queries that she wanted to like look into, and I was like, read this, it will solve everything. I'm not sure she's 100% convinced, but I did try. And then I've been desperately trying to get my boyfriend to read it because he's addicted to fizzy drinks, and I used to be addicted to fizzy drinks. And then HBD obviously showed me how bad that was. And again, I don't know whether the amount of Diet Coke, Pepsi Max, all of that I was drinking was actually impacting my weight loss and my life as well, because it's so bad for you. And then it's like one of my friends who weirdly mum is friends with her mum, they're reading the book together because she's got thyroid problems. So again, it's just another person where we're like, you know what, maybe your diet is the answer, because if nothing else is giving up. And someone said it in the comments earlier, prevention is so much better than cure. So you know what, rather than giving, it's like these people who become pre-diabetic and then have to address the problem. Like for dad, like, so my side of the family and my dad's side of the family, diabetes is such a common issue. So rather than, you know, tiptoe our lives where it's like, okay, we'll eat as much processed and refined sugar as we can, and then we'll take our chances when we're like in our 50s, 60s and see what happens. It's like, well, you know what, I'm not eating enough sugar in my diet for that to really be an issue. I mean, if I get diabetes now, that's bloody unlucky, but I feel confident that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I feel confident too. Yeah, good. Woo. No, that's really, really lovely. And yeah, and Emily, can you see any, because I'm not, you're young and you've probably got good eyesight, and you're obviously very brainy as well, you're studying law, but there are probably all sorts of questions there that I've missed. So if you see anything that jumps out, do just interrupt and say there's a question here, or a comment or whatever.
So there was a comment saying where's it gone? Someone said, I haven't drank Diet Cola in over a year now due to HBD, and I used to drink 4 to 6 cans a day, which is crazy.
Crazy. And that's basically murdering our microbes, because they hate those fake sugars. Apart from having a sweet taste in your mouth all the time, so it means your insulin's always high. Yeah. But
I think it's horrible. I must admit, that's something I've never had a problem with, because I find the taste like a saccharine-y. It's just horrible to me. So
that's really lucky.
Yeah.
And HBD Sari says, thank you, Petronella, for looking after us ladies. I used to have bad periods. Now I'm surprised when they come as 0 symptoms. Hurrah for that.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That's really brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kathy O'Donnell X says, I'm always blown away how much ongoing support you give us all, Petronella, because I love you. I can never believe it when you reply. You're a star. Thank you. Well, like Emily said, we're all in this together. We all want everybody to succeed and everybody to feel better and to have a better experience generally of life, and as much fun as possible, because it's actually quite hard to have fun when you're feeling half dead. Yeah.
I really can confirm. And I think also I've discovered so much through not drinking as well on this process, because I gave up alcohol once before for a dry January, and I really did feel the benefits, but I wasn't eating the right food whilst
Yeah.
giving up the alcohol. Doing both in conjunction has been absolutely enormous for me, because I suffer with really bad anxiety. Well, and now it's like not drinking is completely culling that. Again, the mouth ulcers, I think, were being absolutely worsened by that. Bloating, fatigue,
Yeah.
nausea, basically every bad thing. And also my endometriosis, if I drink, I end up with shocking cramps and sometimes get some like out of cycle bleeding, all triggered by alcohol.
Wow, really? Gosh. Yeah.
It's probably the biggest toxic, like the way my body responds to it is not just like oh, you drank a bit too much last night. It's literally like trying to squeeze it out of my system.
Yeah.
So having, because I was saying to mum earlier, I was like, I think I might think about whether I can go alcohol free in the new year, or at least literally save it for a day where I think, no, actually, you know, having a drink right now will significantly elevate this situation, rather than being almost like socially coded as someone in their 20s. Oh, well, it's a Friday night down the pub. That means a pint, instead of, oh, I can go to the pub and have a soda water with a fresh lime in it.
You're incredible. And at 23, I mean, really, really incredible and wise. And to have got all this and to understand it all, you know, in your early 20s is just fantastic, phenomenal. And it will set you up well forever and ever and ever. It's really, really cool. Sometimes, I mean, horrible things happen, but they, you know, then they open the door to possibilities for all sorts of other things. It's very strange, isn't it, how life works? Incredible.
Absolutely. It's been really positive.
Yeah.
Oh, Monday.
So, no, I remember having that conversation with Christie, and I said, you know, I'm going to try and get my daughter to do it. And she said, if I could and talk to my 20-something-year-old self, I would tell them to talk.
Yeah.
So, you know, and she said, I wish I'd have had that 20 years ago or whatever, you know. So then I do feel the way Emily has that luxury that Christie didn't get.
Yeah. But even so, you know, you can, you know, that old saying, you know, you can bring a horse to water. But Emily was wise enough to think about it and to think about how she felt, and to realize that she couldn't get what she needed going down the conventional route of having pills and operations. And so really huge congratulations to you, Emily, because you know, you seized the chance and just turned everything around, which is fantastic. Really well done.
Absolutely. And I can't remember who said it to me, but probably mum, with all her like fantastic little quotes out there. But she was like, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to have a decision of, is my life actually that bad that I need to change something? Or can you manage this? And actually this whole thing is not as bad as everyone thinks it is. And then she was like, there will come a time where making certain sacrifices and not eating certain food, even though that feels really inconvenient, will outweigh all of the problems that you've been having. And for me, it was one of those where like I put it off and I put it off and I put it off. And I kind of got to a point where I was like, right, I have this holiday in September. Beyond that, right, that's me 100% sticking to this. And it's like now there's not a part of me that thinks, you know what, like a pizza or a pasta, or, you know, being able to stuff my face in the hours between treat meals would ever compensate for the positive health benefits that I've got. Or like, again, being able to have a drink on a Tuesday night just because I can, it's never going to make me go back. I think it's like, you know, you do get to a point where you're like, actually, this is a good way to live my life. And this is why HBD is a lifestyle rather than just a diet. Because the thing is, you do, like, I've done Slimming World, I've done Weight Watchers, I've done Second Nature, name any like trusted NHS diet out there, I've done it, I'm telling you. And every single one of them, you are waiting for the day that you can get off it. And also, there are just things about them that don't make sense. Like, why on earth are you telling me I can eat an entire chicken? And then, but it's fine because tomorrow all you can eat is vegetables. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And also, I hate having to substitute foods. It's like, oh, make a mayo, but do it with, you know, quark. I don't know what that is, but it's disgusting. Whereas HBD food is good, it's nutritious, and also you can actually understand why scientifically it makes sense. Like the science is there, it all adds up. And I'm not looking for answers, because the book gives me all the answers I need. So it's just such a good way to live.
Because you don't get answer. When you take up sort of one of the other well-known diets, nobody actually explains anything to you. They just say, this is what you do. And what you're literally just calorie counting, but in a way, you know, and that's all they're trying to do. They're not actually teaching you eat healthily. And this for me is the first time, and I've been on diets my whole sort of adult life. And this is the first time that somebody has presented me with a set of guidelines that says, this is what you need to do to make sure that you continue living healthily. And, you know, one of the big things for John and I was sort of after COVID, when you look at sort of like the pressure on the NHS, and you suddenly think, actually, we can't afford to get sick. We are now sort of heading into sort of like the latter stages of life. I know that sounds terrible, but I mean, John's 62 and I'm not behind. And, you know, it's sort of like, you know, little health problems start to come in, and we've got to head it off at the pass, and we need to be as healthiest version we can be, and hopefully we can beat a lot of those issues. I mean, I watched my dad sadly died of bowel cancer, and it started around my age as ulcerative colitis. And then he was on so many different medications, but every medication gave him a different symptom. By the time he died, I left the hospice with a gigantic carrier bag full of pills. I look back now and I think, oh my gosh, if only I could have just said to him, think of your gut. And he did make some diet changes. I mean, he did take out dairy diet, but not soon enough.
Not soon enough, exactly. It had to get really bad first.
Yeah. And then you just think, don't want to be too little, too late. So let's do all this now while we're all in health, and let's hope that we keep it that way.
Let's keep it that way, exactly. And keep saying what you're saying, Emily, because what you said in the last few minutes kind of sums up the whole thing, really. You know, is it worth it? You know, you might like the taste of something, but if it's going to do X, Y, Z to you and make you feel like complete rubbish, you know, why would anybody do that? But a lot of people forget that. But you've got it really straight and clear in your head, which is very unusual. Not just very unusual for somebody in their 20s, but very unusual for anybody. I think you're amazing. You really are. You're fantastic. And I hope your friends will take more notice of you now.
I hope so too.
I will read that book. Yeah.
I might start buying it for people for Christmas.
Exactly. Good idea. Yeah. No, that would be great. And well done you, Christine, for seizing the day as well and saying, look, I'm going to be a really good example, and let's see if Emily is intrigued by what I'm doing. And so she was. Yeah. And so, you know, your health turned around.
Emily's brain, I know, works.
Yeah.
And get her to do the diet that I needed to do. But also it's that whole thing, I think you have to do something. Leading by example, isn't it? And it's like, you need to cut this out your diet, or you need to do this, or be a certain way. I find it easier when they look at somebody else and they go, right, there's my inspiration and I want to be like them. And
yeah, exactly. So it's a question of don't tell them, show them.
Show them, exactly. Like that very, very early age. You know, I used to say, John and I used to say all the time, oh my gosh, she's such a sort of like a little fireball, sort of, you could never tell her what to do. She sort of had to learn in her own way, so you'd sort of demonstrate that. So so it was just the same with HPV.
Well, very lucky Emily to have such cool parents, I must say. And you parents are very blessed by Emily too.
Oh,
what a cool family. Yeah, really, really lovely. Yeah, Kathy, I've just seen a comment from Kathy O'Donnell X, who says, you must be a very proud mum, and what an amazing young woman you are. Yes,
you are.
You are. You both are amazing. Really, really amazing.
Somebody said, yes, how to nourish your body so your metabolism is optimum and the body can heal itself. And that's
exactly. Quite true. What could be better than that?
Yeah.
And HBD Sari says, beautiful mum and daughter, so good to see you both glowing with health.
Oh.
Yeah, and here to that too. But it's so sweet of you to come on and share your story. Thank you. And really incredible to hear you, Emily, talking in that way about how you've come to terms with giving certain things up and how you've reframed the whole thing and turned it into a really positive thing, not like, what am I missing, but how good am I feeling, which is just incredible. So thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you for having us and for creating this whole movement. It's basically a
Bless
movement
you.
now.
Thank you. It is, isn't it? It really is. What are you guys doing for Christmas?
We're together.
yeah.
Home together. Lovely. Well, I hope you have a very, very happy Christmas, and thank you again so much. It's been really lovely to talk to you. Thank you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.